If you haven't heard by now, there's a football game on Sunday, and there are a host of plot lines for this Sunday's Super Bowl, is what they call this game, between the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Harbaugh brothers coaching against one another. You got the impact of concussions and head trauma and how it may change the sport in the league. It's also the final game of Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis, but exactly which Ray Lewis are we talking about? I mean, first there was the bad Ray Lewis, brash, arrogant, very, very good on the football field, but off it, Lewis led a less than stellar life, and at the Super Bowl in Atlanta in 2000, Lewis and two friends got into a fight that ended with two people dead. The trio, Lewis and his friends, were arrested and all charged with murder. Lewis turned on his buddies and agreed to testify against them while his charges were dismissed. The men were acquitted. No one has ever been brought to justice for those murders. And then came good Ray Lewis, the All-Pro and future Hall of Fame linebacker whose commitment to his team helped lead them to a Super Bowl win over the Giants in 2001. Sorry, Tom. And whose leadership is credited with taking a stagnant Ravens team this season all the way to the Super Bowl. Lewis getting a lot of credit for motivating the team, especially the defense. He's also done a slew of work for charities in Baltimore, becoming something of an icon in the city. He's even got a street in Charm City named after him. And then this week, the return perhaps of the bad Ray Lewis with allegations he used a banned substance while trying to recover from a torn triceps this season. So guys, which Ray Lewis is it? Because until the triceps thing, until the deer antler spray story came out, I was just hearing about this great Hall of Fame linebacker who led his team. Is this a story about a guy who can change his life, or should we remember what happened in 2000?
Well, if you listen to the families of the two gentlemen who were murdered, they certainly will never forgive Ray Lewis. I mean, look, to judge another human being is the most impossible thing to do.
Isn't that what we do all
yes, and so if we look at it, is that one, he is a Hall of Fame football player. He was arrested, cleared of any charges. His friends were cleared of any charges. And now he says God in every conversation at least 40 or 50 times. On the face of it, I say, I hope that he's a changed man. I don't tend to buy into it. It's a little over the edge, and I think some people in the league now. But you know what? Here's what crowned his little end. When Roger Goodell, before his last game, came out and put his arms around Ray Lewis, he said, everything's okay. And so you go from there.
It's not binary. He's going to be judged on the fullness of his record, and many, many years from now in his obituary, they're not going to not include this incident and that he did testify against his friends, and that's going to be with him forever. And he's an enormously talented ball player.
Yeah. Enormously talented football player, and that's the way it's going to go down. I mean, and we're going to be honest about this. Doesn't half the league have some type of involvement with law enforcement?
But just think that if we had used the deer spray as consultants here, or if Andrew had, I mean, he'd be Dan Rather sitting there now. We haven't had the benefit of the deer spray. And so I think that's unfortunate that we're not getting the access to the deer spray that we need.
Let me throw a couple of names around. I mean, you got OJ, who was a great football player, no argument, Hall of Fame football player, not exactly held in high esteem.
Career was over, though. You know, he didn't have the chance to come back and accomplish. I mean, this is going back now 13 years or so for Ray Lewis. So he got to build back a career or maintain a career. OJ was sort of out there. And so, you know, even though he didn't get convicted, it was over. And I also think in that case, it was such a high-profile case that most of us, reasonable people, said he murdered his wife. That was a little bit different than a Ray Lewis situation. So. And then
you get Lawrence Taylor, another league changing.
What did he do wrong? Lawrence Taylor is in the Hall of Fame.
Isn't he behind bars right now?
No, he's not behind bars.
Did he get out?
He is a convicted child, whatever they call him.
Convicted sex offender.
Convicted sex offender, and he made a mistake that he was apologetic for, and we've moved on.
But most people, when you say Lawrence Taylor, most people don't think sex offender. They think
cocaine.
Linebacker and Hall of Fame linebacker, and maybe a cocaine user.
Is there a way to get this back to politics? I'm not a sports fan. I'm so far out of my depth right now, but I could fake it a while longer.
And on that note,
the story of redemption.
But just so you know, Ray Lewis, though, on the football field is no Lawrence Taylor. Just let's be clear.
But he's a close second.
No, he's not. But he's a Hall of Famer, and that's it. There's Lawrence Taylor up here, and then there's a bunch of guys over here.
All right, Mikey. Talk of the Table is next. Stay with us.